Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. As you can see today, I'm joined by a very special guest.
Hello there.
If you are new here or you have never met Sam, this is Sam, my fiance. That's exciting.
Hello there. She's also my fiance, if you didn't know.
Yeah, fiance. Since Valentine's Day fell on a Friday this year, I thought it would be fun to do a video together. And so I asked you for some questions and we have a lot to get through. So let's get right in. We're gonna start with the question that we probably got the most, and that is, how did we meet? Do you want to tell it or do you want me to tell it?
I will tell it.
Okay.
As some of you may know, Lakin and I went to the University of Texas at Austin, Hook 'em Horns. We never met on campus, even though our fraternity and sororities didn't mix with each other.
We probably crossed paths at some point.
As she says.
I mean, we were both at the same mixer. I'm sure we were both there at the same time.
Potentially. So we potentially may have crossed paths, but it never happened until we moved to New York City. We were both invited separately from mutual friends. And we were both invited to a Texas Ex's chili cook-off. We meet up with our mutual friends. They had their own party together. We joined the party. We got to know each other there. Had an amazing chili.
Also, I think I mentioned this before. If you live in New York, the chili cook-off is not limited to alumni only. You should come. It is delicious and amazing.
So we met each other at this event, and then there was an after party nearby at a local Tex-Mex restaurant, which ironically is not there anymore. But we reconnected there, and we all had a good time. And I, as politely assertive as possible, I asked what they were doing later that night, and they were just going out to the club.
I had a friend visiting from out of town, and so a sorority sister of mine that was visiting from Houston, and so we had plans to just go out that night.
And I asked if I could join them, which the friend says, yeah, absolutely, let's go.
She's like, yeah, that sounds great.
Like, perfect.
And I'm like, this guy just invited himself to hang out with us. Like, it was supposed to be just the two of us, girls' night, and now this guy is coming along.
So after arriving later that night to Lakin's then apartment.
He came to my apartment, like the first day we met. So we went out to the bars and we started dancing together.
And I went in for a kiss. And the rest is history.
The rest is history, yeah. If you've heard the song Shut Up and Dance, we kind of say that that's our song because that's basically what happened, is we were together at the bar. And the bar that we ended up at it's this awesome bar on the Upper East Side where they have live music and they do cover bands, and so it was like a cover band playing like 80s and 90s music, and the music was great, and I was like, let's just dance.
I impressed her with my knowledge of lyrics
and dancing. Wait, there is no way you impress me with your knowledge of lyrics. You still don't know lyrics. That is not a strong suit of yours.
I knew the lyrics to those songs.
Okay. He does not know the words to songs ever.
Then you realize that, wait, he actually doesn't know
knows
lyrics
nothing.
to any other song.
No, it was the dancing. I love, obviously, if you've been around, I love to dance. I love dancing. And having somebody who also enjoyed dancing was probably always a deal breaker. And so that was an immediate, like,
right.
He loves
great dancer, great kisser.
The next question is just kind of relationship, like chronological. Somebody asked, they are thinking of moving in with their boyfriend, and how did we know it was the right time to move in together? So for those of you who don't know, we met in May, the story we just told, and we officially moved in together August the following year. So it was 15 months later, we moved in together. And I'll say, and you can jump in if you disagree, in New York, it's kind of hard because you're at the timing of your leases being up. I mean, I guess anywhere you're at the timing of your leases, but New York is expensive. And living two people in a one bedroom is like the most cost effective way to live in this city. And at the point where we were getting to discuss whether he was gonna resign with his roommates, I was living alone. We were already spending quite a few nights at the other one's apartments. Okay, he was spending the night at mine. I didn't spend the night at his apartment. He lived with 2 or 3 other guys at that point. So he was already spending probably 3 to 4 nights a week at my apartment. And so it kind of just made sense with the timing of his lease being up at the end of July. I think we probably weren't 100% there. Like, we probably would have been ready. I guess I was probably ready. He probably would have needed a little bit more time, but maybe not a whole another year.
So what I've gathered, because this was actually different than what you told me, but the reason that you wanted me to move in was because it was cost effective for you.
It was because you were already spending 4 nights a week here.
Had nothing to do with love.
That is not true. That is false. It was definitely had everything to do with love. We're going to get to a question later, and when you hear the answer, when they hear the answer to that one, they're going to know it was about love. So she was ready. I actually was not. Yeah.
I really wanted to think it over. You know, it's a big commitment. But one thing I did realize was, if you don't do it now, you do it later, you know, what's the big difference? You're going to have to find out sooner, you know, anyway.
That's true.
I decided that why not? We'll see if it works out. Clearly it worked out.
All right, and then the next question that will make sense why I was ready, that we got this question a lot, was when and how did you know that they were the one? And I will go first.
Okay.
I actually forgot about this story until he reminded me of it recently. But I think what really solidified it for me, at the point when I met Sam, like I had been in another serious relationship. I knew what was important to me and what wasn't. I knew what the deal breakers were, and I knew what I was looking for in like a future significant other. And so it didn't take me long to figure out that Sam was all of those things and that he was the one. But what really solidified it for me was that first holiday season that we were together. So we'd been together 8 months at that point, and we went to all 4. So we come from divorced parents. We spent time with all 4 of our sets of parents. We went to visit all of them. We met grandparents, we met siblings, and we spent 10 days straight together, which we had never done before. And at the end of it, I just like still wanted to spend more time with him. And I was like,
nice.
Everybody got along so well with our families, and I wanted more of it. And I was like, all right, that's it. That must mean he's the one. And then I told him a couple of weeks after that. I was
and then I
sober,
freaked out.
and he freaked out because I mean at that point it'd been like 9 months, and I like drunkenly told him that I like wanted to marry him, and he was like, okay.
Good news, that didn't deter me from still being in a relationship. I'm not saying that you're happy to hear this, but it probably was another year or so from that till that made me realize this was the one. And it wasn't like there was a defining moment. It was just thinking of what would my life be without, right? Some people like to say that, oh, there was like this moment when we did this, this, and this, which clearly was Lakin's moment. But for me, it was, she fits all the check boxes for me as well.
We're both so methodical with our check boxes.
I think it was when she met all the members of my family, and I met all the members of her family. Which
took a while, because we have a lot of parents and a lot of siblings.
I think a family is an extent, you know, you are the extension of your family, and how your family acts is led to how you act. Yeah. Sometimes you can divorce it, but to me, I want to get, not only do I want to have a great relationship clearly with my partner, but I want to have a great relationship with the family she comes from. Family is super important to both of us. So. And after that happened, I just kept thinking of the reasons, like, okay, well, what would my life be like without Lakin? And then I thought about, okay, well, that would suck. And then I thought, well, what would my life be like with Lakin, and continuing this and everything that I wanted to achieve, and how I can't imagine it being separate from her. That was like, okay, I know I'm ready. But so we had a conversation like not too far after that. So timeline wise, a year after I told him, we did have a conversation kind of talking about like an actual timeline of when we were going to the ballet. Is that when we had that conversation? Yeah. Okay. We had a conversation about what the timeline was going to look like for us. It was roughly a year ago. February. No, there was a whole year in between that. You're missing a year. Yeah, that's what I'm about to ask you. There was like a whole year from when we had that conversation to when you started looking for a ring. It was like 2 years ago from right now that we had that conversation. I wanted to say it was March. Okay. But 2 years ago, March. I'm clearly bad with timelines. So then it took you almost a year from that to start like looking for a ring. So what made you kind of switch and decide? That was a question somebody asked. Like, when did you know you were ready then? Because there was a moment where you knew it was me, but then when were you ready to start preparing to propose? Part of it was the establishment of my practice. Okay. Work was definitely a huge factor. You know, it's sink or swim for me. I'm commission based, so I wanted to make sure that I knew I could do what I'm doing and be steady with it. And once I saw honestly the statistics and the numbers that yes, I can continue to do this and continue to grow, I felt more solidified in actually moving forward with that relationship.
Okay, this question is just for you. How nervous were you when you proposed?
Oh my God. Truthfully, everything I did up to the proposal, I was not nervous. That's just how I am as, if you want to think of it as even like as performing. When I was performing as a kid and in theater and every time I did that, I was never nervous until I was actually about to go on stage.
Okay, so all the planning, designing the ring, talking to all of our parents, all that, none of that made you nervous?
No, none of that made me nervous.
But then the day of?
But the day of the show, not even when
Wait, what about the week of when I was suspicious? Were you nervous then?
Not about proposing to you.
But about me figuring
About you figuring out I was nervous.
If you want more of those details, I will link the vlog where it was after we got engaged and I talked all about all of my suspicions that I had about, like, he let one thing slip and it just went downhill from there and I overthought everything that week. So I was pretty convinced it was going to be that weekend, but then the kind of the flip-flop happened. By the time we got to that day, I forgot all about it because it was the day of the show and I was just like, oh, it's show day, and I forgot all about my suspicions.
Yeah, she did. So until I actually went on stage to, just to present to the audience members and to actually go do the proposal, to start singing, I was fine.
Okay.
I was able to convince Lakin to go to a bar.
I know, and eat lunch
and
by
eat
myself.
Lunch by herself.
So he could
sound
rehearse.
check. I was very smooth, clearly. But yeah, it wasn't until I was on stage and actually, and about to sing, that's when my throat choked up and I struggled to get words out and sing on tune. To the point that when I looked at her, when I was starting to sing, I started to forget the lyrics, and it was not pretty.
That's real Sam, though. You don't know the lyrics.
But I knew the lyrics to those numbers.
You just forgot.
I just forgot them.
No. Okay, the next batch of questions are just kind of about our relationship in general. How do you support each other in the pursuit of your individual goals? That's kind of a hard question. I feel like...
I think I know how to answer it.
Okay, you go.
Sure, living together, I'm thankful because usually it's Lakin doing a lot of more of the domestic, chores and whatnot. I've tried to become better at either it's cleaning or whatnot, or just being more attentive, but truthfully, you do that with the work that I do. Right,
because he is spending a lot of time currently on his career to try and build it up, and so I do probably more of the housework right now in our relationship, but that doesn't mean that that's how it's going to be forever.
True.
I think another thing is just being maybe a little bit more like that communication about it so that they support you. Whether that's health related or whether that's a side hustle or whatever it is, being a lot more like, hey, this is what I'm working on right now. So like, I need you to, whatever you can do to support that. And whether that is for me doing household stuff for him, or for him, sometimes it's not being home so that I can film because of the way, like the setup that we live in, it's a lot easier for me to film if he's not here. So sometimes it's saying, hey, can you not come home so that I can film? And that, I think, is how we support each other. It's just being really open about what it is that we want.
But in addition to that, we're generally supportive of what we both want to do.
That's true.
Truthfully, when I first got into this, I don't think you were as keen on it until I showed that I could do it.
Yeah, right? I think it made me, I've been in the industry for a lot longer, and I think I know how hard it can be for people to be successful, and so that made me really nervous. Not that I didn't have faith in you, but it just made me really nervous. And then I also knew that you would have to work a lot at the beginning, and I was concerned that it does, but I was concerned that would take so much of time away from us that was going to be like really difficult. And not to say that it isn't. Sometimes like making time for each other is, any relationship, you've got to work at that, but I think we have found a way to make that work. Yeah,
and also it goes both ways too. I'd like to think I'm supportive of the work that you want to do, because in addition to obviously her day job and clearly with vlogging and your social media handle, you're trying to find out the ways to be more proactive about it, which includes speaking. I'm doing public speaking. Every opportunity that is presented to her, I'm like, go for it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me. I'll be fine.
He's like, go do what you want to do. Okay, the next question is, what is one quirk that you both love about each other? I already have an answer because I saw the questions before we started filming because I put them all together. So I'll go first and he can think about his. Sam likes to make up songs. He likes to sing songs all the time. He makes up songs just about anything, like doing the dishes, how he's happy to see me, whatever it is. He just likes to sing and make up songs all the time. And I love it.
She's not wrong. Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is that she just loves to snuggle.
Oh, I do love to snuggle. That is like,
I also do like to snuggle. I think Lakin likes it more than I do.
Yeah, okay.
But it just makes you feel wanted, right?
Yeah,
and
that's true. I do. I always want to snuggle. Okay, this question is interesting because I don't know that we really have a concrete answer yet, and that is, how do you handle finances as a couple?
Okay.
That is something that we are working on, something that we are trying to figure out, because as of this point, and I'm happy to share, I'm not sharing numbers obviously, but as of this point, we have just split everything. Like I pay a lot of the bills because a lot of them were in my name because it's my apartment. It was my apartment to begin with. So the rent, electric, all those things. And I do the grocery shopping, but we will split all of that, the living expenses. We are still trying to figure out sort of how that's going to look once we're married and once we combine some or all.
We talked briefly about it. We've actually had some of these conversations about, do we join everything together? Do we have a main joint account where we're contributing and that's where expenses are coming from. And we've also talked about how maybe we also still have our separate accounts where maybe that's just our fun money, or for business or for pleasure or whatnot.
One of the things though I really do want to do that I actually got from Emily Lay's book, A Simplified Life, is that what it's called? She talked about finances and simplifying finances. And one of the things that she talked about, I've mentioned to Sam, and I think it would work really well for us, is that one person is like the day-to-day, she calls it the secretary, and then one person is kind of the CEO, the big picture. And I think that that will work really well for us when we do combine what we combine. I am much more of a day-to-day, like in the numbers. I know exactly what I spent. I log all of my purchases. I have a very detailed spreadsheet. I also have a video on that if you're interested. So that is sort of, it really works well for me. And then he is much more the big picture, kind of the future goals, stuff that he does for his clients, like the future goals. Here's what we're going towards. Here's how we need to maneuver our finances and invest and save in order to achieve all of those future goals that we have.
Yeah, micro, macro.
Yes. Okay, the next question is also financial, and it is, who is the saver and who is the spender?
Oh, well, that's an easy answer. I'm the saver, Lakin is the spender.
I'm the spender. Okay, the next question is, how do you handle work/life, hobby, work/life/hobby balance as a couple and as an individual?
Individually, I can speak to that.
Okay.
Well, we can obviously talk about it jointly, but individually, it's a little easier for me to answer. My challenge, but also what excites me about the work that I do, is that what is the work-life balance? And one thing I do like about the work that I do is that there are many different ways you can meet individuals. So I am able to work while enjoying myself, right? So sometimes that means I'm going to see a show, or sometimes I'm going to an event that I particularly enjoy, but while I'm there I can just meet people, right? So it doesn't feel like I have to sacrifice. It just feels like, okay, well, yes, maybe it's sometimes nice to turn off my business brain, but if a conversation comes up, and
he never turns off his business brain,
it's nice to be able to see how I can help individuals with the work that I do. But with that said, at least when it comes to us, we do have to make a proactive effort to spend time together.
You have to schedule it.
Schedule it. Yeah.
You just gotta put it in the schedule. Like after we film this video, we're going on a date, and we just put it in the schedule. She
told me to block off this time, and I said, okay, it is.
That's how it works. He is all in his phone for planning, and I'm just like, block off this time, this day at this time. We have a friend coming into town in a couple weeks. I was like, just block off that evening so we can get dinner with her. Like what is nice about his job is that it is flexible, and if I'm like, hey, I need to block off this time, as long as I ask far enough in advance, you're usually very like, okay, like I'll block it off. But if it doesn't get blocked off, then it probably won't happen. And I'm guilty of that too. If I don't have it in my schedule to do the more like fun life, like the stuff you would call life, then I will fill it with work. You know, and mine is not necessarily my 9 to 5. It's my plan with Lakin work, but I'll fill it with work if I don't have it scheduled to be life stuff.
Right.
Okay, somebody asked, what is our favorite date that we've gone on so far and why?
I'm trying to think of the ones that really just popped out to me. But there are 2 dates that I thought were a lot of fun. The first one, I definitely congratulate myself on this because it's awesome.
Oh, I think it's the one I'm thinking of then.
What, Hamilton?
Yeah, Hamilton. For sure it's Hamilton.
For the holidays when we first...
Our first holidays together.
Our first holidays together, I created essentially an IOU. Tickets to one of 3 specific shows. One was Cats the Musical. One was Book of Mormon.
Also great.
And Hamilton.
And I was like, there's no way you're gonna get tickets to Hamilton. There's no way we're gonna go see Hamilton. And I was like, I love all 3 of them. We've now seen all 3 at this point, but I was like, you know, I don't care. Like, you pick, and if you can make Hamilton happen, great, but I'll be happy with any of them.
So at the time I was still working for a theater production company, and I had a contact to Hamilton through my boss. And I definitely took advantage of that.
Yeah.
So I was able to get house seats, which are really, they're face value seats for essentially the best seats in a Broadway theater venue. So instead of paying an outrageous amount of money towards what a typical Hamilton ticket may cost,
especially in New York.
Especially in New York City, I was able to get, you know, it's still a lot of money for a Broadway ticket, but it's significantly less than
but for
what
Hamilton,
the charges would be. And I told her to block off specific dates for date night.
The best part about this date, though, is that he tried very hard to convince me that we were going to see Cats. He picked a restaurant for dinner that was like right by the Cats theater. I forget you did something else. He had me convinced that we were seeing Cats, to the point that I put a cat sticker in my planner because he had me convinced that we were seeing Cats. And then for whatever reason, that day up, I'm pretty sure it was a Wednesday, I was at work and I was like, you know, I wonder what time the show starts, because weekday shows sometimes can start at 7, but Wednesdays when there's a matinee, sometimes they wait till 8 to give them a little bit more of a break. So I like Google search what time the Cats show started on that day. There was no show. Cats didn't have a Wednesday show. So I like knew going into dinner that there was no way we were seeing Cats.
I did not know that.
I didn't tell him that at the time. And so
different schedule for a Broadway show, which is pretty
rare. Yeah, that's pretty rare. Normally they're all kind of the same. And so I knew that we weren't seeing Cats, but I didn't know what we were seeing. And then as we're like walking down 8th Avenue, and every time you want to like turn onto the number street to go to one of the theaters, he's like, oh, just kidding. And then we kept walking until we finally got to Hamilton.
The second date that I really loved was Spyscape.
Oh yeah, the Spy Museum. Super cool, highly recommend. So
we did for Valentine's last year. We went to this Spyscape museum because if you didn't know, Lakin loves police drama.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow, this would be something that we haven't really explored in our relationship. Types of, I guess, content and fun that was around this type of subject. So we went to Spyscape, and then we went to this really cool ninja Japanese dinner restaurant. Which was a little kitschy, but the food was alright, and it was, you know, just entertaining just to be there.
I think I vlogged that whole evening if you want to check it out. It was fun. It was a good date. Okay, the next question is kind of similar but different, and I don't know if your answer's gonna be different, but what is our favorite memory together besides the proposal?
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. That one's hard too.
I've not put any thought into this, guys.
No, he didn't see any of the questions until now.
Honestly, it's really hard for me to think of it, but I mean, it was probably the first, I think it was when we were dancing when we first met.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cute. I was thinking also, I was trying to think of one, it would be sometime dancing. I was like, is there a wedding that we danced at, or like something, us going dancing together is also like always one of my favorites. Okay, this is an interesting question that I feel like I mentioned before, but the question is, are there any faith differences? And if so, how do y'all handle it? Do you want to talk about this?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are definitely faith differences. In case you guys didn't know, I'm Jewish.
And I was raised a hodgepodge of Christian religions. I went from Baptist to Christian. My dad and stepmom were Methodist, and now my mom goes to a Lutheran church. So it is a whole mix of Christian.
Pretty early on in our relationship, it was probably a little ill-timed when I talked about it with her.
I don't remember.
It was right before we went to the holidays.
Oh.
Remember?
Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, it was like days before we were leaving to go on that like 10-day trip with all our
I think
parents.
it might have been like the day before.
Yeah, we were like packing.
Yeah.
And you were like, okay, by the way, I want to raise my children Jewish, and that's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, as we're about to fly to Chicago to celebrate Christmas with my mom, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so definitely ill-timed, but I mean, it still rings true. Judaism means so much to me as a culture, as a religion. I'm not practicing in the sense that I, go to synagogue or temple every Friday night. It's more about the community and the culture and the history and the values behind Judaism that I want to pass on to my children. And there's a concept called the dor vador. It literally means from generation to generation. And, it has made such a profound impact on my life of being raised Jewish and being raised in the culture and the tradition that regardless of who I'm with, it doesn't matter if they share the same faith or not. What matters to me is if our kids are raised in the faith that I grew up in.
And so two things about that were important to me that also made it work with us. One, the fact that he didn't care or didn't bother him that I wasn't Jewish, that I didn't need to convert in order for our kids to be raised Jewish, and that I could still believe whatever I want to believe and do whatever I want to do. That was important to me. I was like, great, because sometimes I'm not really sure. And so I like that I can be free to explore what I want to explore, whatever that means. And then for children, for me, all that mattered to me is that they had some structure in terms of faith. For me, it was about something that they could go to on a weekly basis that taught them right from wrong, that taught them, the history of people being good people and hearing about those stories from somebody other than their parents. Because at the end of the day, kids listen a lot more to other people than their parents sometimes. And so I didn't necessarily care about the religion behind it. For me, it was more about my children going to something where they learned about good and evil, and they learned about there being something bigger than themselves and the faith aspect in general. And whatever that looked like, it wasn't as important to me that it was a specific religion. And so when he said that, it took me a little bit, but I'm okay with it. So that is how we're dealing with it. Our children will be raised Jewish, and we will continue to celebrate all the holidays because it is more about family at that point. So we will celebrate Christian holidays with my family and Jewish holidays with his family, and that's it.
We're definitely going to make it work where we're raised Jewish in an interfaith household.
Yep. And I think I answered a question in the live about wedding stuff that our ceremony will be interfaith as well.
Right. So it's essentially a Jewish marriage frame, like a Jewish structures frame, but
with a rabbi.
With a rabbi, but within the ceremony there will be interfaith traditions. So you will have, what is traditionally Jewish in it. You will also have some prayers and maybe some aspects of it that are Christian.
Some songs, maybe. I'm just such a song person, especially when it comes to religion.
We're still figuring it out.
Okay, that was a good transition because the next couple questions are all marriage related or wedding related, really. What is Sam in charge of in terms of wedding planning? Do you want me to answer this, or do you want to answer it?
You should probably answer it. I mean, it's not much, truthfully.
Yeah. So the way he expressed it, so we had a conversation right after we got engaged of sort of what we wanted the wedding to look like from like a, bird's eye view, like from a vision in terms of the number of people, the style, what we kind of wanted. And we got on the same page in that regards. Right. And then what he wants to be involved in really more so is like the decision making, like the final decision of X, Y, and Z. So I will be doing most of the research and the organizing of the information. And then when it comes time to like, okay, here are the options that we have, he's gonna help decide between those final options. And obviously everything that is done in person, like going to the venue tours or when we do cake tastings and catering tastings and meeting with photographers.
Really exciting for the food.
Yeah, he's excited about the food tasting. That's our next trip to Austin. We have to plan to go down there and do catering and cake tasting. But I think it's more, he wants to be involved in the decision making and not just have me make the decisions. But at the same time, there's a lot of things he doesn't necessarily care about. Like, so I was literally yesterday showing him like a save the date options, and he was like, I don't care. Like, he was just like, just pick one. Like, that's not as important to you.
No.
Right. Okay, the next question was, what are y'all most looking forward to on the big day? I'll start. I think I've answered this before, but I have 8 siblings, and they're a combination of half and step, and they have never all been in one place before. I mean, I'm really excited to marry Sam, but really, all of my siblings have never been in one place, and I can't wait to have them all in the same place.
That's great.
I'm so excited about it.
You know, honestly, I mean, I'm just excited to see you walk down the aisle.
Oh, stop.
You can tear up, it's okay. But in addition to that, we're going to have a big wedding just by nature of having a huge family there, but you know, I want to make sure my friends are there too.
Oh. It is going to be a big wedding, and it's probably like half and half friends and family.
Right.
Maybe a little bit more family at this point.
So I'm really excited just to have everybody there to celebrate our big day. And I'm so excited for the food.
And I think he doesn't realize when people like make these comments where they're like, the bride and groom never actually get to eat and they never actually get to taste their food because they're so busy like being the host and hostess that they don't actually get to eat. But one of the ideas that I found somewhere, some book, YouTube video, I don't know, that I really like is to have 15 minutes by ourselves to have a private dinner. So have somebody make a plate for each of us, and in between the cocktail hour and our entrance into the reception, so pretty much while everybody is like finding their seats, while everybody else is being like shuffled from the cocktail space to the reception, we're gonna go sneak off into a room and eat just the 2 of us, so we get to eat our food and then have food in our stomachs and get a moment just the 2 of us before the party begins. Because we are going to want to spend our time being with people, the people that we love. That's a big like thing for us for the wedding is all the people that are going to be there. That's really important to us. It was not like we didn't want to have to cut the list as much as possible because that's important, and being on the dance floor.
Sure. Don't get me wrong. There will be more eating throughout the night. I will find people to bring me food.
I'm sure you will. Okay, the next question is, what are you each looking forward to most with marriage?
From day to day, I can't imagine changing much. It's more like the big picture of what we're looking forward to in the future.
Yeah, I think it's more, looking forward to like the next steps. It's not like the day after the wedding or even like the year after the wedding. Yeah, I think it's more the like after that.
I mean, I will be looking forward to the honeymoon. That'll be really exciting.
That's the next question, actually.
Well,
the next question is, do you have any honeymoon ideas?
We do have honeymoon ideas.
We have not made a decision
We have not made a decision. There are quite a few that we're thinking of. I think I know where I would like to be.
You know what your number 1 choice would be?
I think so at this point in time.
What would it be?
I would love to go to Southeast Asia, Indochina.
Like, can you list some of those countries?
Like Thailand, for example. I don't know if it's toying around those different countries like Vietnam or Cambodia. That's where Angkor Wat is. I wouldn't mind going down to Singapore and Malaysia. It'd probably be a little too much.
It's a long trip.
Might be a little long trip, which maybe we don't want to do. But I can imagine ourselves doing some really cool sightseeing in those in those countries, and then either staying in Thailand, and after our adventure, we relax on the beach for some time.
That's my deal breaker.
Either in Thailand or go to Indonesia and go to Bali.
Yeah. That's my deal breaker.
Yeah.
I want at least like 1 or 2 days on a beach doing nothing.
Oh, it could probably still be more.
No, I feel like, if we take like 2 weeks and we do a bunch of adventuring stuff and then take the last couple of days right before we leave to just like lay on a beach.
You probably want to make that 3 days.
Okay, 3 days. That sounds great.
It's gonna be awesome.
If you have any other honeymoon recommendations, my big like ideas that I had were Italy or Greece, but I think I'm being steered a little bit away from Europe because Europe is not as long of a flight and we can kind of always go there in the future, except Italy Venice might not always be there. But if you have any honeymoon recommendations, let us know in the comments. Again, we are looking for a balance of adventure, like excitement. We both love to travel and sightsee, but also like lay on a beach. Like I'm not about to just go to, I was trying to think like Russia or something that doesn't have a beach option. There needs to be a beach option nearby. And then the last sort of marriage related question, which I think I've answered here before and we kind of had already answered earlier, is do you plan on having kids
Yes. It's just a matter of how many.
Yeah, that's a debate we still have.
It's not a debate anymore.
It's definitely a debate.
It's not a debate
it's still
anymore.
a debate. Okay, we have a couple questions that are planner related.
Ooh.
What were Sam's initial thoughts on the planner community and how have they evolved?
Initially, I thought, what is the planner community? Because I have not heard about it. And then Lincoln proceeded to show me what the planner community was and her involvement in it. And the first thing I thought is, wait, there's a niche for this? And then I was talking to Lincoln obviously about the work that she was doing, and I thought, wow, she's a celebrity in this community? That's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Not a celebrity.
Just to let you guys know, her followers on Instagram as well as on YouTube is actually more than quite a few Broadway stars.
Oh. So also I have to say, when I met Sam the weekend before the very first Go Wild in New Orleans, and I didn't tell him where I was going or why I was going to New Orleans. I think I said it was a girls' weekend, which is true. It was a girls' weekend. But that first trip to Go Wild was so life-changing. Like, it was incredible. I mean, Go Wild's amazing. Jeanette created this amazing experience, but it was, that first one made me not want to hide. It made me want to shout from the rooftops what the planner community was and what it meant to me. So I basically came home and told him. So he's known from like the very beginning what the planner community was and
right.
where I was going on these trips. I didn't like hide it.
But generally speaking, I thought it was really cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm the person, or I hope there are more people that think like this, and I think there are quite a few of us out there, but if you have a passion, you go for it, mm-hmm. right?
Even if it's niche and unique.
Right, and I think that's really cool, what you guys do. I mean, clearly it fits into the work that I do, and sometimes it's just about goal setting and planning. I think it's really exciting that this is something that you're passionate about. Mm-hmm. And just over the years now that we've been together, I'm excited to see how more involved you become and how more entrenched in the industry you are. I also just like meeting Lakin's friends.
Yeah, he likes meeting the planner community.
Right? So a lot of you guys are just really wonderful individuals.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Okay, the next question is kind of for me, but I kind of wanted Sam's thoughts on it as well. Would you consider doing a boyfriend takeover plan with me? No. The first reason, do you even know what a plan with me is?
Is it we go through the planner and we figure out how you're planning out your week?
Yeah.
So you're effectively showing your planner in front of your YouTubers.
Yes. Have you ever watched one of my plan with me's?
I have.
He hardly ever watches my videos.
Not true.
He like never watches them.
I definitely watch them. Not as often as you'd like me to watch them.
That's true.
But I definitely have seen videos.
Also, he just doesn't do paper planning. He doesn't get it.
That's why I would say, no, it's not that I don't get it or get it. It's that with the work that I do, I have to have a flexible schedule.
Yeah, but you could also still benefit from paper planning.
I'm sure I could.
Okay, the next question is, how does Sam feel about decorative planning? So like using stickers in your planner.
Isn't that the same thing as the previous question?
The person that asked worded it more. She feels guilty using all these stickers and almost wasteful in her planner, and she doesn't want her husband to see it because she feels like it's being wasteful with all these stickers, and so she wanted to know how you felt about the fact that I use stickers in my planner.
Oh, I mean, to each their own, man. I mean, I really couldn't care less. I'm excited that makes you excited. If, you know, for other planners out there that use stickers in their planners, if you like the stickers that you use and it helps convey your artistic, you know, your art, and if it helps convey what you're trying to plan, then why not? You do it.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, we have two more questions. They're two very random questions. The first one is, who is older?
By 6 months.
Yeah, like a little bit less than 6 months.
So, on that note, if we're getting married on May 1st of 2021, I will be 29, and Lakin will be 30.
He's not very nice. I don't like that, and he reminds me of it all the time. Okay, the last question, I thought was kind of funny, so I saved it for the end. Do you do anything to remember or honor Texas and show your state pride?
Besides going to Texas events?
I feel like, I didn't know if you meant like physically in our apartment or like activities that we do. We do support our school a lot, so we pretty much go to all the football game watches unless one of us is out of town, even then the other one probably goes. We do try to go to all of the events that our alumni association hosts.
We also we continue to wear burnt
We do, we wear school
clothing.
stuff a lot. We don't really have anything, I guess, in our apartment that has anything related to Texas.
No, but we do like to go get Tex-Mex.
Oh, we do. We like to go eat Texas food. We go get Tex-Mex and we go get barbecue.
Oh, I love spicy Whataburger ketchup.
Oh my God. And that's what my dad got him for Christmas.
It was the perfect Christmas gift.
He's like mailed him from HEB because you can buy like the big jugs of spicy Whataburger ketchup at HEB. And he bought them and mailed them to Sam.
And I used that as my tomato base and my deviled eggs.
That's true.
For a Super Bowl party.
That is.
It was awesome.
Texas fried spicy Whataburger ketchup. All right, that was it. Those are all the questions. Thank you everybody who submitted a question. Hopefully this was fun and you learned something about us. I like having Sam on the channel. I think it's fun. Let me know if you agree by giving this video a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Thank you so much for watching. Happy planning! Okay, so remember, look here. Not at yourself.
No, I want to look at you.
Even if sometimes it means I'm in the middle of the bed and he gets annoyed.
I do get annoyed. She's in the middle of the bed, but...
Okay, we have... Okay, we have... I agree with you, but I'm also not putting on the video.
Eat.
So at the end of our wedding, when I'm on the dance floor, he'll be at the buffet.